you know, growing up and like making choices about schools and what you study, it was always kind of, I never really was able to, I never had any clarity, not necessarily about the subjects, but about what comes first. Is it practical, hands-on, honest skills, or is it cerebral, you know, philosophical,
like,
you know, understanding skills?
Understanding,
I now think that it makes most sense to get practical skills, physical skills, to know how to use your body to create value for others. And that lays your like foundation. That means you go into the world, and wherever you are, you know, if you know how to use your hands to get food from the ground, if you know how to use your hands to make yourself stronger, if you know how to use your hands to transport stuff, or if you know how to use your hands to make electricity, if you know how to use your hands to make stuff, make surfboards, to make furniture, if you know how to use your hands to cook, right? Again, these things are universal, so you can offer value to everyone, but they're kind of commodities as well, right? So they're not necessarily high value if everyone does it. And that's obviously why we get specialization. That's why you get to the point where you've got industry and, like, you know, people don't end up doing that. I think it makes sense for kids, right, and people coming into the world to first like understand how to create value from the physical, and then beyond that, look at building out with more you know, cerebral pursuits, understanding of economic systems, understanding of, you know, sociology and stuff. But I think all the way through, what is important is that the practical skills are taught with from like a value set as well. So you're guided by values. You don't necessarily, you know, have the kind of conceptual understanding of how everything fits into place. But at the very least, you're secure in the world, just as like a, you know, as an economic agent in the world. You can contribute value, and, you know, at the very least, you can use your value to eat and to, you know, put a roof over your head. And sometimes that might be, again, finding your own food and knocking up your own shelter, you know, at its root level. But otherwise, you can provide value to other people and then earn money and do those things, right? So I think, you know, as humans, we need to understand, like, equip ourselves with the skills, and this is what an education system should be geared towards, equipping people with the practical skills to secure your economic future. And that, to me, comes firstly from the physical. And then on top of that, from there, you can start adding the more conceptual, cerebral things. And then, you know, philosophy and values kind of are what gel it all together.
Interesting.
And I kind of feel like if I had that mindset early on, you know, no regrets, like, you know, whatever. But if I had that mindset early on and I kind of took that path, I would be far more equipped with, you know, just like abundant, you know, in skills and value to create. And
for sure. And I think that's interesting, because kind of setting self-reliance, or that, you know, physical self-reliance as kind of the universal basis, and then going from there. Which is kind of what I was talking about before when I was saying we have a narrow view of human experience, is that we've just really went full on with just efficiency and industrialization and how can we do this faster, quicker, right? Just faster and quicker, right? And at a scale where we can produce more and make more, right? But in doing that, it's commoditized, or commodified? Commodified? Which one is it? One of them. But it's commoditized. I think it's commodified. It's commodified. No, that sounds wrong. It's commoditized a lot of those skills, right? Like you know, growing, or making furniture, or But then it's like, okay, I just look at where we're heading. It's like, what's the inevitability of all of this efficiency, right? And like, let's say we are already hyper efficient. And now these physical, you know, skills have become commodities. But I kind of want to do those things, you know? It's like, if everything was a blank slate and we got to choose, like, that's actually interesting, you know? And you can think about, you know, ways to make it even more interesting. When you talk about how can you exercise whilst farming, right? Or how can you, you know, and get really creative with that human experience. But yeah, the whole point is that's kind of what I was meaning when I said it. We have a narrow view of human experience that's just geared toward efficiency and production. And like, that is pushing the human experience. And it's commodified all these other things that actually can be quite interesting.
Well, they are. They're
And
the way
it's creation.
That's connection.
That's connection.
It's connection with the earth. If you don't have that, if you don't have that physical connection, then everything starts falling apart. I think. You have the mental anxiety, you have the mental confusion,
Right.
And because you don't have the physical connection,
Yeah.
because you can't feel it, because everything's done for you. You're not connected to the world.
Exactly.
And actually, the other kind of way this dynamic plays out, or is playing out now, is everyone goes to school and studies cerebral subjects, whether it's economics or English or cool, but then you've got all these graduates who can't actually do anything.
Yeah.
Right? And I found myself in that position. Literally
Yeah.
found myself in that position. Going to the bank, cool, I can use my skills here, but outside the bank, I can't do fucking anything.
Yeah.
So it's like this process of reskilling. But that is not cool. Like now you have all these people who have oh shit, I've spent years, lots of money on my degree, I've got all this debt, and I can't actually get a job. And it's well, yeah, no shit, because you don't have practical value to offer. If you had a practical skills, whether it's any of those, hands-on tangible skills, and then you add on your cerebral, specific knowledge of
build a cabin
English
and
language.
write.
Right, exactly. You can start making things.
Start creating
cool.
your own.
Exactly. That's when you can start taking those practical skills and decommoditizing them.
Yeah.
And and then start creating value add, right? Then that's how you start. You start moving up the chain, basically.
Yeah.
And that's why there's more and more people want to go back to these things that we're talking about, making the soaps, making whatever.
It's connection, man.
Exactly.
It's
and if you don't have it, then you have fucking nothing.
Yeah.
You can't feel anything. So
exactly. We have so many degrees of separation between us and these, sources, right? These are these are our sources, right? This is our environment, right? We are the environment, and now we've just created this built, handmade environment that it's made us so disconnected from what's natural, right? And I think
what's needed, to make us again go through life with peace in the heart, man.
Exactly.
And that's the problem with when everything's looked at through an economic frame of mind, is that you only look at what gives you economic value in the marketplace.
Right. Under this economic system.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's there's no need to learn how to make soap, because everyone else can do it. And actually a machine can do it, so we don't need it, right?
Exactly.
But actually, in that activity is the very thing that keeps you alive, right? And makes you feel alive.
Exactly.
Maybe not soap, but
No, but for example, right? It's what if I find meaning in creating soap and using, and creating different types of soap, right? Or it's and that can bring you, that's creation. That's mindful.
That's
creation.
fun. That's
fun.
That's it, right? At the end of the day, it's fun.
You're making.
If you're not having fun, then what the fuck are you having?
Exactly.
If you're not feeling, if you're not having fun, what are you doing?
Yeah.